Right. Great. All right, it is 6:34 p.m. I'm going to call the March meeting of the Executive Committee for Manhattan Community Board 2 to order. We do have a quorum, excuse me. And so with that, we'll get started. I'm Valerie Delarosa, I'm chair of the board. And we'll go to our first agenda item, which is approval of the February 2026 Executive Committee minutes.
Motion to approve.
So we have a Janine, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Donna with the second. All right, so with that, I will go to the chair's report. It always comes so quickly. All right, so my chair's report for the executive committee this month in March is It's Madness on Mercer. It's March Madness, that is. So I just want to give a congratulations to the NYU women's basketball team for their 91 consecutive wins and their third trip in a row to the NCAA Division III Women's Final Four. They are undefeated at the Paulson Center. And former chair David Gruber and I attended one of their games last Friday. I get in for free because of my teaching, and we paid for David's ticket. So nothing untoward there, but it was a lot of fun, and I recommend going to cheer them on next season. They play undefeated Sacramento on Thursday, and the national championship game is on Saturday. So undefeated means they won 2 championships in a row, so they're going for their third.
Where is the national title?
It's in Virginia.
Oh, okay.
It's the next game, and so they're not here. But next season, they've not lost a game in the Paulson, so a lot of pressure if you go for the first time.
Story.
Yeah.
You should share the photo of you and David.
Oh yes, I will pull
I'll
it.
post it on the CB2.
I should. I went over to the bookstore to get one of those big foam hands, which, you know, someone who comes from a big football school is a different type of school spirit here, but they had plenty of those on hand. So it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. Since we last met, I testified on behalf of the board at the BSA, so Board of Standards and Appeal, on the Little West 12th Street project, their second time coming before BSA. Everyone needs to know that Eugene and Katie sat for 6.5 hours on the first hearing. This was them coming back. And that is an extremely well-run meeting. The BSA commissioners run a really tight ship. It's really, really fun to watch, actually. I also testified on the board's position since we last met at Landmarks Preservation Commission on the proposed cantilever building on Great Jones and the Bowery, 375 Lafayette, which has to come back for discussion and for a vote with the commissioners. So again, that went late into the evening. I think that went until like from 3 to 6:45 p.m. that day. And then most recently today, I testified on behalf of 27 East 4th Street, again, and our denial of the proposed project next to the Merchant's House. In each one of those instances at LPC, Chenault Spence, the chair of our Landmarks Committee, also testified as well on Zoom. It was in person for 2 of those. So there's a lot going on. I'd like to point out that Councilmember Epstein was at LPC today testifying against 27 East 4th Street and also on behalf of Borough President Brad Hoylman-Siegel. I'm against that project. And so again, our electeds really involved in LPC. And as we know, Councilmember Marte is chairing that subcommittee on landmarks in the city council. And the work of the board continues to build momentum as 2027 is really shaping up to be the year of ULURPs for us, and not just any ULURPs, but really, really big generation-changing ULURPs for our district. So we have a lot ahead of us, and I know that each of the chairs tonight will get into their specific reports. I won't go over too much there. Since we last met, we've had one resignation, Monica Desai-Weiss, who had joined in May 2025, and then she was on maternity leave from September to December. She is leaving to spend more time with her family. We look forward to welcoming her back to the board at a later date. But due to her time commitments, she didn't feel like she had the time to commit to the board. And thought that this would be a good time with the appointments coming up and whatnot. As we know, that deadline has passed for appointments, so we are eagerly awaiting to hear the number of applications as well as an idea of kind of what that looks like for us. And I believe, and Mark will correct me, but I believe we have 7 vacancies. We have 7 vacancies. Right? Okay, right. So 6 open spots, and then we have is, Brian Paper, amazing assistant secretary, will not be, is moving on. Other than that, I had said I would come back to you about the New York Peace Institute. We did receive a proposal from them, and it's a wide range of fees, up to $9,000 on the high end, based on a series of different components. And one of the things they had recommended was a kind of a smaller discovery type of group, and then the larger workshop for the executive committee.
What is a discovery group?
Like interviews, like wanting to do interviews with a few select people going into the workshop. That was like 4 to 6 of those, and those each have a specific cost. The goal that came from the borough president's office was really to have a wider training. And then I think that will allow us to stay under budget. We might just risk perhaps some other, they were just concerned about there being an underlying issue. But we could probably do a workshop around $3,500. They have it as a half day, which I think is a bit long for us. I think it's hard enough to find a half day for ourselves. And so I would like to look at doing this at the end of April. And I know that's, the ideal would be that it would be on our executive committee night, that we would have some sort of abbreviated meeting, because we all have this date allocated off. So I'm eager to hear any sort of feedback, hey, Brian, on that.
I like that idea rather than having to commit another night, for instance.
Yes, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so.
In the borough president trainings, they've gotten into an hour. I think that's kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah, an hour and a half max.
I'd rather be given stuff to read ahead of time or something.
Yeah.
And people can do it on their own time and they
Yeah.
can prepare.
Do you guys recall when we did that other thing with, I was just trying to look it up, I think it's called the forward.
Yeah.
Forward. So the breakout sessions and came back.
I don't remember any of the details. I know we did something.
I'll try and find some of that, because I thought the way that was structured, people stayed engaged through it. Because I think if the time frame is going to be any length, it has to be
Engaging whether it's short or long.
Yeah, so, it could be like a reduced discovery session with maybe like 4 interviews and a shorter customized workshop, so that there's still momentum, we're still under budget. I think the full suite is too much of 9,000.
Yeah.
If anyone differs on that, please speak up. I don't think that the discovery only phase, which is more interviews, so really it's either just only the workshop with no prior diagnostic. The diagnostic, which is, this discovery session is how I'm framing this as, was recommended by the Peace Institute. So, and it was just to give them more context and to make sure that that the workshop isn't unfocused and that there's not some sort of underlying issue that could surface or whatnot. So I just offer that up. So I'm going to continue that negotiation and discussion and then
Hand up.
Yep. Mar, hi.
Hi. We can't hear Carter when he's talking. So can you come to the mic when he speaks, please?
Will do.
Carter.
Yeah.
It's
fun to sit next to Emma. I've done it before. It's pretty fun. So anyways, I just wanted to come back to this group with those numbers and with that scope. And if we can make it happen for April, I'd like to do that as part of our executive committee meeting. So,
That's the next one. Yeah.
right, so, okay. And that is my report. 6:44, I gotta work on that.
Ready for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. We actually have 7 vacancies, not including anybody who chooses not to reapply. So we'll have so term limits, we don't need it because we're gonna have a lot of turnover anyway, right? Okay, election of officers is gonna happen on Thursday. Notwithstanding the fact that no one is running opposed, we still have to do the election and we have to do it right. So you were all there. We've had the nominations in February. You know the slate. The ballot was tested at the February meeting as it was required to be in the bylaws. And therefore I can report that the favorite Winter Olympic sport was figure skating. And there was the locks of choice was Russ and Daughters, although there was a write-in for Sadel's. So that, anyway, so the thing works.
I mean, in district, out of district, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just pleased that it worked. Okay,
good trivia.
let's see. Reminder, I think you all know, you have to answer the roll call at the beginning of the business session in order to be eligible to vote. And that means that I can prepare the list in advance, but I can't send the ballot out until the roll call is finished, and I'll need a couple of seconds to confer with the secretary to make sure that my list looks like your list, and then I can send out the ballot. As we did last year, my request of anyone who is able is that they do the ballot online, even if they're in the room in person, because that populates the spreadsheet and makes the tally that much easier. Let's see, speaking of tally, we have the tally committee, and it's fully formed with my deep thanks without having to twist anybody's arm too much. So the borough president's rep is required by the bylaws. That's Andrew Chang, and he's on board. The additional elected rep is Connor Allerton, and he has stepped up. And the CB2 committee chair that was required, Mara Fitzgerald, thank you, Mara, is taking that on. So we're set to go for Thursday. There is an option to vote by telephone, and one of our members routinely avails himself of that. If there's anybody else that would like that, they need to tell me, and I'll make sure that we get a phone in the room that will answer. And I sent out a request to confirm the emails, since I'll be sending the ballot by email to everybody. The bylaws require that I test that email, and I had nobody come back. Well, one person came back and gave me a different email address. So again, the email test worked. So I think we're ready to go on Thursday, but those are dangerous words to say out loud. Okay, let's see. I wanted to make, this is too long a conversation, so I'll cut it short, but I'm particularly grateful for the support that we are receiving from the borough president's office this early into the administration. One example is that Marielle, the head of liaisons, I don't know, she has a better title than that, and John, who is the general counsel, have something called a drop-in session. It's like office hours just for district managers every month.
and chairs. There's one for chairs too.
Okay,
Yeah.
oddly enough, I'm not invited to that.
I know, it's crazy.
But I think it's good to have us, do our own little session. And it's been well attended and very, very useful. And today, during a mandatory training for I guess I am your APO, your Administrative Privacy Officer. It's one of those things where you're supposed to take a step forward, but everybody else takes a step back, and so there I am. They are, among other things, requiring us to develop our own privacy policy. That ain't gonna happen. And so I offered a comment to say, you don't want 59 community boards, each coming up with their own privacy policy.
Good idea.
Among other things.
Yeah.
And so John who knew he was there, John raises his hand, jumps in and says, this is a job for the borough president's office, and took the weight off of our shoulders. So anyway, kudos and thanks. Not to not to be distinguishing, but I've been reporting to you about the Office of Mass Engagement, which replaced in a somewhat dramatic fashion, the Community Affairs Unit. And when I say dramatic fashion, I mean that nobody who used to work for the Community Affairs Unit is there anymore. So there was a mandatory session with the executive director and the district managers, at which they were asking questions like, what are our names and what's our email? There is no Manhattan Borough Deputy Commissioner for the Office of Mass Engagement, and yet they are asserting their jurisdiction in a lot of different ways. I've reported back to you about how since the new administration took over, the Village Interagency Task Force had not met because it was facilitated by the Community Affairs Unit, and the rest of you know. So the co-chairs of that have now formed, they held a meeting in February on their own. And the police department and various others did attend, and so it was a productive meeting. But we do need mayoral support or city hall support to get all the agencies for the other meeting every month that held. And that's where you solve problems like, potholes and things like that. Thank you to those who, turning to the board package, thank you to those who've already submitted. I'm looking to get that out within the open meetings law guidelines tomorrow. A note about the board package. I know it's a poor workman who blames his tools, but a good workman knows their limits. Our photocopier is not exactly state of the art. We need time to produce the physical copies that people seem to want when we go to the meeting. So if you would keep that in mind as you're making your submissions so that we could get all of that in, all those ducks in a row. It turns out because of the calendar, the e-blast with the April agendas will go out on not this Friday, but next Friday, the 27th. So those whose agendas would be due for that, please keep that in mind and get them to us. I'm going to skip that. I already covered that. Oh, and I sent out a message today to the full board giving a link to the responses to the budget priorities that we received from the agencies. It's fair to say that no one is changing their budget allocations as a result of our work, but our work was taken much more seriously this year than it was last. And at least that's that's a step in the right direction. And a quick thing, the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce is reaching out to each of the Manhattan district managers one by one, and they have some interesting tools, which I'll be putting on the website and calling to your attention as I receive them and as we know more. Unless I see actually we have a hand. Take questions and then that's my report.
Yes, see ya.
Actually, can you hear me?
Sure can.
I'm using a new system, so I'm.
All right.
Keep it.
I've just, this is a beta test.
Very well said.
I have a question for Valerie, actually. I put my hand up and not in quite enough time. If someone has a question for Mark, I'll wait, and if that's whatever's needed.
I see no hands. Go ahead.
Valerie, which members of the community board are going to participate in this Peace Institute activity?
Right now, it's the executive committee because of cost. Excuse me.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Mark, did you touch on the AI thing that the borough president sent through?
I did not.
Okay.
But I can. Essentially, it was a set of guidelines on when to use and when not to use AI. A lot of boards have used different AI apps to generate minutes and summaries and to-do lists and so forth. And I guess the top note is that the AI generator that comes with Zoom is okay to use, but not ChatGPT or any of the other ones. And it came with a recommendation and reminder not that you need to edit carefully whatever AI produces for you. And offline, I'll tell you about a lawsuit in which someone was sanctioned because they used AI to write a legal brief, and it cited cases that didn't exist.
Yeah, so it just says basically the Zoom, thanks, Mark, the Zoom AI companion should only be on while the extent of the meeting being recorded, and that once you go into like executive session, it should be turned off. But this is again for the Zoom Gov account that we run our meetings off of, so just, all right. Okay, so then with that, let's go to, we did the district manager report and the election procedures, so now reviewing the draft March and future calendars, or the draft April. We're in March now. So, kind of get like a week off due to the high holidays and the Easter holidays. So we start on the 6th of April with our usual lineup. And all of that. Okay, so no comments on any of those. And then as far as when we meet next in April, we're going to be talking about May, June, and July and all of that. And I know that there is an SLA2 date that is in flux that is on the calendar. So we're just waiting on our partners at Lenox Hill to get back to us on that. And if there's anything else people want to comment on any of the future months, I'm just going to keep asking every month because it's so far out, but I also want to make sure that your committees know the dates and whatnot ahead of time. All right. Okay. So now let's go to.
So I think in July we'll probably meet, so July 1st.
You want to go to July 1st?
Yeah, we're not on there that one.
Oh, okay, got it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
So then.
And I just want to throw, now that we have fewer committees, I'd love to get traffic and transportation before the board meetings.
Mhm.
So I can circle back with you and I want to talk to the committee about what
Okay.
worked for them. But it'd be nice to not have it the last week so people could have a week off, per se.
Would you want it to be like on the Monday before full board?
I'm gonna have to write the resolution in one night.
I know. I'm just like, where will that date land? Like, where will that land?
Or the 5th, or the Wednesday before.
Wednesday before full board?
Yeah, that's a week before, so it gives me a weekend.
No, that's usually land use.
Oh, that is, okay.
Just, yeah, you want to look at like either the April or May calendar, because once we get into the summer months, like July,
Good.
anyone that wasn't an application driven, like every month got taken off of the July and August calendar.
Got it.
And the other thing I'll
So-
throw into the mix, if I may, is that
I'm open to it, but I'm just, where is it?
Yeah, I'll talk to the committee and come back to you.
well, then the one thing I want to offer you is that there are times in which the landmarks committee needs more than one meeting, and usually the second meeting is the Monday that you're talking about. And it's not possible to know this far out what that.
I know. It's just hard to have it, we have these meetings and then we don't go on it for like another month. So.
Nope, I hear ya. Okay, so then now let's go to reports. So why don't we start with, we'll go in the order of the calendar. So let's go with traffic and transportation. On that note.
We have 3 resolutions, one on Sammy's Law, which I want to tweak because the mayor announced that we're going to have Sammy's Law in school zones. Our proposal is just south of 59th Street, so it's just simple. Because people do not, where's the school? Where does the zone start? And you're going to go 15, then you're going to go 20. Just keep it in the congestion zone. And we're kind of just throwing it out there that City Bike needs to do a better job of digging out, abiding by their contract and digging out their bikes. And we're recommending that they give all City Bike annual members a 2-week extension before their renewal. And then finally, the recommendations for West Third and Bleecker. And it's basically the same things we've been pushing. That the city said they didn't want to, we might not get the street repaved for 8 years or some long period of time. And we're like, well, we can't live with this mess. So it's sort of laid out like a plan, like, well, this is just paint and this doesn't cost much. And how do we do it? And I know it's only until Thursday, but when the snow melted, I biked over that beige part that's sort of the, was supposed to be the extended sidewalk. And it was fine. It wasn't bumpy. It started slightly gravelly, but if anyone else is a cyclist, maybe Carter, maybe you could like bike over that. But honestly, like fine, then just paint over it. And when the street's repaved in several years, they can fix it. But I don't see any need that we would need to, I mean, I'll defer, I want to get a few other bikers to test that out for me. But that's our agenda. And good news is for next month, remember last year we presented a plan to have two-way bike lane on Lafayette from Astor Place down to Prince Street, because basically it's a death ride on Broadway. And I haven't seen the plans yet, but the city is going to be presenting to us a new plan, and it's integrated with 8th Street, Astor Place, and Lafayette. So we're actually getting something. So if we come up with ideas that make sense and frankly just require paint, I think we can get a lot more happening. So that's exciting. That's it.
So then,
Question.
Yep.
Do board members who are members of City Bike have to recuse from voting on that, since they're getting a financial benefit?
That's a good question. I'll check with Coib.
It's just seems,
I run it every day.
What was
I
it?
don't know if it's a financial benefit because I wasn't able to use it.
Can Carter please get closer to a mic?
Yeah,
It's very
Carter
hard.
asked if people who are City Bike members need to recuse themselves from the vote. I will ask Coib, but we are basically asking them to abide by their contract provisions. And if they can't, then give people a credit. But the main issue is that they're not abiding by their contract with the city. But I will reach out to Coib and they're very good, so I will have an answer before
very
Thursday.
great. And then on your second agenda item for next week, right, next week, did you connect with,
No, I did not. I've called, and
Okay.
emailed him, but I'll call again.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Where was the area you said to ride over? West Third?
It's between, let me see, I think I have it on
the
my,
parking lane, that's not a parking lane.
yeah, this part right here, between where people aren't
Oh,
supposed to be
like
parking.
right
It's like,
Right outside,
it's like a beige between the curb and the bike lane.
yeah, okay, like right outside.
Yeah, where NYU illegally parks its cars.
And then, and then in April, Canal Street's coming back, is that right?
You know, I ask every time I
Okay.
talk to Kate, I will get confirmation
Okay.
when that happens.
Okay.
You know, she's not in control of that, so I ask her, she tells me, and she's like, I think so, it's April, May.
Okay,
Since your meeting's at the end of the month,
Oh, right, right.
no, yeah, so
right,
stay tuned. I ask
Okay.
every time, and that's the latest.
okay. Well, we'll look forward to your April agenda. Any ideas or anything?
If it is Canal Street, that would be.
That would be it, okay.
I mean, that would be.
That
the
makes sense, why get something else going.
So,
Okay,
and I'll ask her Tuesday when we have the meeting and, you know, try to check in with her mid-month.
sounds good, okay. Street activities and resiliency?
Sure, yes, pretty standard meeting. I'm trying to think of anything notable this month. You know, we did, kind of for the first time, we actually got an apology letter
Great, yes, I was gonna ask you
from
about that.
someone who had been stickering and stenciling on the sidewalk, which has been like an area that we've continued to try to crack down on. And we actually got like what seems like a very genuine apology letter. So that's nice to see.
That's really.
So let's talk about that.
There's some sort of call or something, like some sort of Zoom or something?
I don't know if we're gonna have a Zoom. So it's a brand that's gonna be activating on the Gansevoort Plaza.
Okay.
And, they have different, the brand has used different like expediters and marketing agencies for different events. So they came before us this month and basically we told the person who was sponsoring one of their events for the first time, this brand has caused a lot of problems with stenciling and they didn't know anything about it, but we basically said, we're not going to approve anything from them until they fix this issue. And then they came back with an apology letter.
Okay.
Which was nice. So there's a walkthrough for the event. It's basically an installation on the Gansevoort Plaza. We didn't have an issue with the event itself. We just wanted them to stop stenciling.
Okay, Mark, is this the same thing as that virtual discussion that's happening tomorrow?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and so they apologize and then they're getting ready to do this installation,
Yes.
so they're trying to bridge.
Yeah, they're
Okay,
trying to solve the issue.
Okay.
Which is good.
great.
And then, another thing which we are thinking about starting to do forward to just, we have that continued timing problem where we have events where by the rule, they only need to apply 14 days before. And so they either don't have to come to our committee or they happen after we vote before full board. For the ones that come after our committee meeting but before full board, to the extent we can catch them on SAR, on CECM's website, we're thinking about asking them to fill out the questionnaire that we send to everyone that presents to us, so we can at least get details on the event. So we kind of came upon that idea this month and we may start doing that more going forward. So it's not a formal vote, but at least we get a little visibility into what the events will be.
Okay, thank you. All
That's it.
right, and your meeting is on April 6th. All right, Donna.
Can I jump in?
Oh, yeah, you have a question.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Will had asked me to look into whether the DEP folks
Yes,
about
that's
the
right.
noise code could come.
Mhm.
And one guy said yes, and then another guy said, we'll talk about it.
Who's
So-
more senior?
Yes,
To
I was
come
gonna say, we
to
wanted-
the virtual discussion or come to the meeting?
Come to Will's
Yeah.
meeting.
Oh,
I mean, I would be happy with virtual too, but if
Oh,
that's
yeah.
all they
Oh,
can
no,
do.
Yeah.
it's gonna be virtual if they come at all.
Okay,
Yeah.
But they're trying to clear whether they come to the meeting this month
Okay.
or another time.
okay.
Great.
I meant to mention that, thank you, because
Great.
I don't think we've ever in our committee hosted anything specifically on noise pollution and the noise code. Would be really interesting.
Great.
Yeah,
Just basically more of an educational presentation on how it works. I was interested by this new app that they put out that I'm not really sure is feeding into anything right now, but anyway.
Over time, DEP has engaged with our constituents on occasion who've made noise complaints
Yeah,
and come to them, but it is not common.
right.
But they have. So it would be interesting to hear from them what that entails. Right? Have you
Yeah.
engaged with anybody yet?
About noise?
Yeah, who's had DEP
Constantly.
come to their,
he starts with an
I've gone to
H.
those, I've gone to
Okay,
those
yeah.
site visits, yeah.
yeah, because I think that would be interesting for
interesting.
everybody to
So
understand.
DEP's actually
what that
showed
is.
up for a few people. That's
Yeah,
Hmm.
so.
Great, that sounds wonderful. Keep us posted. Yes,
Thank you,
of
ma'am.
course.
I'm just curious, have you heard anything about World Cup events? Like any rumblings on this?
It's a good one.
I have not. seen
I feel like it's really soon and.
I have not.
Something should be
happening.
I haven't,
Okay,
we should check the database and see if
Yeah.
anything's come in since I
Yeah,
last
that's
looked
a
at it
good-
couple weeks
yeah.
ago.
I know there's this long approval, it has to go to FIFA first if it's gonna be sanctioned, anyways, yeah. I was just
Oh, it's-
curious if you heard.
Before they even get to us, they have to.
Yeah, they're like a couple
Is it-
of steps.
The governors also and some electeds have tried to move forward, I think, some various things
Interesting.
for that.
Yeah.
But there's also in New York Harbor, 250th anniversary, so there's a lot of stuff
Sesquicentennial.
that's happening this summer, and that might actually be worth looking into, because we also want people, we're very underutilized in July and August in our community. There's not a lot going on, so there is a lot of room, but it would be better if it's coordinated, right? And we can give some good input on that, but
No, that's a great point.
What event are we talking about, trying to get more?
FIFA and the Sesquicentennial, so the FIFA World Cup. And then it's the Sesquicentennial,
Yeah.
the 250.
Mhm.
I've had to-
and in particular, I don't know what the activities, but I know there are a lot of trips, et cetera. So it's like viewing, like promotion, right? I mean, I think that's good for us to get out to our own community because there's so little information
No, you're right.
on it. Nobody, unless you're into
Fleet Week.
soccer, nobody even
Oh, yeah.
like knows it's coming
It's
to
crazy
New
how
York.
little, yeah.
at all, or the activities for
Yeah.
the 250th anniversary.
So that's called Sail Forth, which is Fleet Week, but not on Memorial Day. The FIFA World Cup and the 250th, the sesquicentennial. Thank you very much for that, Elvis.
I kept seeing
The Manhattan
bicentennial.
Chamber of Commerce, one of the things I lighted over, the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce is producing something called the Summer of Opportunity,
Oh.
which is trying to help small businesses take advantage of the anticipated foot traffic that Carter was mentioning. So that's one of the things that I'm hoping to get details on, and we'll put it on our website.
You know what I also think was just like a missed opportunity for the city is I feel like they did nothing or haven't planned anything around the 400th years of New York City,
Yeah, totally.
right?
Yeah, it was 2025.
There was like nothing that happened. That's sad.
Well, who is mayor?
Yeah, they could have done some cool stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, it's over.
On FIFA though, there is advocacy out there to allow for, they're wanting the short-term rental thing for Airbnb to go away because there's not enough hotel rooms.
One more thing to announce.
Who's speaking?
To answer Will's question,
But there's some other feedback.
Susan Kent.
Where's her face? Susan, we
We can't hear you.
can I speak? Can you hear me if I speak?
Yeah.
Okay, great. To answer Will's point, there was activity around the 400th, but it was mostly generated by organizations like the New Netherland Institute and the New Amsterdam Historical Center. Some of the history organizations that focus on the history of New Amsterdam did special things, but they weren't broad. It wasn't for a broad audience, but it was. They did acknowledge it and they did do special things. I just happened to belong to those organizations and participated in some of their Zooms and book readings and stuff. But you're right. It's a very big milestone, and we should have had a broad civic celebration.
Yep. Thanks. Sad I missed those.
Yeah, you'll be around for the 500. Be much bigger.
Okay, see Mara put in the chat that Black Gotham did a series of events called Council 400. And then I will quickly report on that. If you want to get to more of that Borough President Wellman Siegel is starting a borough book club where they are reading The Islands of the Center of the World. More to come on that by Russell.
I've read that.
So if that's one opportunity to get in there. So Donna, please.
The dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we had our two meetings. I think there are 13 resolutions on SLA 1 and 11 on SLA 2. Nothing is that controversial. On SLA 2, Oleo came back for reconsideration of their sidewalk cafe. I think we reached some kind of an agreement with them, what everybody thinks. And then there was another application for a place called Gastronaut at 210 West 10th that wanted late hours. It was just not, there's a lot of ground for apartments right there, and the later hours were not good. So the committee was recommending denial unless they pulled the hours back, and they can't pull the hours back financially. It doesn't work for them. So they're withdrawing the application, and we'll look for a more suitable space in CB2. So I think that's it for me.
Next, we'll go to Parks and Waterfront.
Yeah, we just had two resolutions. One was about resurfacing of the dog runs at Washington Square Park. So that should be okay. And then we have a resolution supporting creation of a plaza from a DMAP block of Little Sixth Avenue from Spring Street to Dominic Street. It's one block. And those unanimous.
Great. And then what are you thinking about for April?
We have to do 388 Hudson's Health facility, It was presented at 388 for landmarks,
Land use.
land use, sorry, was featured that, but featured the new rec center. But it wasn't really the focus of the meeting, and there was a request by everybody to do discussion about what would, about the rec center in particular.
Okay, great. All right, I'll reach out to you. We'll reach out to you for the exact language. Thank you. And then, thank you for that. And then cannabis licensing. Mar.
Hi, yeah, we met and we had 2 renewals and you know, as always, we use the opportunity when we hear renewals to uplift what's working, what's not, and to really inform OCM and CCB, you know, what can be better for the operators and the community. These are 2 really good operators. We haven't had any issues with them. And we have no applications they were totally not controversial, and we don't have any applications yet for next month.
Okay, did you want to talk about the letter that was sent out
The one about 388?
about Flintstone?
Yeah, so, well, and there's an interesting update on that. So, you know, for the past almost 2 years now, we denied Flintstone a proposed dispensary at 388 West Street. It has been approved as of this month. This is somebody that purportedly holds 33 plus licenses under brand licensing agreements. The paperwork that we received was not compliant with OCM guidelines or the law. But CCB decided to finally approve this license. CB6, CB1 in Brooklyn, several other community boards throughout the city have been having similar issues with this brand, all under different social equity licenses. We were very successful in making, I guess, encouraging the changes that were necessary that would allow them to be approved. But anyway, they were approved, but the other licenses are starting to shut down and change hands in the other neighborhoods. So we will see what happens with that. At least one of the Flintstones has now shut down, and that was the biggest one in the Brooklyn. It was the Greenpoint Savings Bank in Brooklyn. So more on that later. There is a public listening session. OCM says that they are trying to overhaul or shore up the regs, and they're giving the public an opportunity to weigh in on that on April 21st. That session is in Brooklyn. I will send the information so we can put it in our newsletter.
And thank you for catching that agenda item that got added very last minute so that we could respond to it, even though the outcome wasn't what we wanted. So thanks for catching that. Okay. Any questions, comments? All right, next we'll go to land use. So Katie.
Okay, I hope you're hearing me with no
Yes.
Perfect.
feedback. Thank you. We had a meeting a week ago, Wednesday. Thank you, Rich, for coming. The first part of the meeting was a presentation by HPD, Canberra Development, Parks Department was there, and Services for the Underserved, SUS, all presenting about the building at 388 Hudson Street, not West Street, 388 Hudson, which is going to be dubbed Hudson Mosaic. So we will have a report in the board packet about this 278 unit permanently affordable housing development at the corner of Clarkson and Hudson, with a very large recreation center in the base with a regulation-sized pool, regulation-sized basketball court, running track, fitness rooms, um, flexible spaces, other flexible spaces as well. It was a large community turnout. And there were lots of questions, and there were lots of questions about Tony Dapolita, but we had to say we're not discussing that at this meeting. It's not on our agenda. So sorry, Rich, we left that for you.
Yeah. You said that.
We do have a resolution, which is about the affordable housing fast track proposal that is going to be at a rules making, or that's going to have a Department of City Planning hearing on April 1st. So we had to make a resolution if we wanted to have any comments at the April 1st meeting. And so the committee has been reviewing that resolution today. And we think that we'll get it to, Valerie wants it tomorrow morning. So I think we're on track for that. I see a couple members of the land use committee in the room. If you have a chance to look at it, I would appreciate your input.
And that's for it to go in the full board packet, not to my review, but so that it's ready to be distributed.
Yeah, we want to put it in the packet by tomorrow morning, but that's the goal for tomorrow morning. But anyway, it's there, and people have been looking at it. But we have questions about sort of a one size fits all situation, and we also have questions about how they're constructing a data set. The 12 community districts boards in the city with the least affordable housing in a 5-year period have a little less time, a little less opportunity to comment on affordable housing projects in their district. And we find, I think that Carter says it best, we find that we have a lot of outlier projects that might take a little more time, a little more investigation to get straight. And so we want to put in some objections to the rules as they're written.
Thank you for that, and thank you for your work on that resolution and to the entire committee.
Yes, it was a very, very good session. Thank you to the whole committee. Great.
Any questions or comments for Katie? Okay, thanks, Katie. And then next we have landmarks. So Chanel asked me to briefly report, as you may recall, last month in the third landmarks meeting report from last month, there was something about the police athletic league building, and that the committee would be coming with a full something for a statement for the board to consider. So that is now a resolution, and that is as it is an individual landmark. And so the committee discussed it at this month's landmarks meeting, looking at a statement, and decided to formulate it into a resolution. There's no application before us for this. It's at I'm getting everything is so address based that we deal with, and it's in my I was like, this is a land use one, this is a landmarks one. So this is 34.5 East 12th Street. And so since it's an individual landmark, we've since learned from the facilities department at NYPD that this is their #1 facade restoration that's on their list, and that they have asked for fiscal 2027 dollars. And this is all in the resolution, so you can read it. It's a $4.2 million request, and with the proposed schedule for the renovation to begin in fiscal year 2030, which would be in 2029. So it's on its way, and trying to prevent demolition by neglect, as it is an individual landmark. So there is that. And there were several other applications that the committee heard, but you can hear from those and read them in your packet on Thursday. or before Thursday, when the packet goes out on Wednesday. And you can curl up with those in this cold weather, as you, in front of a fireplace. And I think that's all I have on landmarks. Is there any questions about what I just went over? Comments? Okay, is there any new business that anyone would like to bring up? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right.
And just to be clear, before I go for that second, we did discuss the election of officers, nominations, and procedures for full board. It was just a separate item, but Mark covered those in his district manager's report, so just noting that for the record. So I have a motion to adjourn from Janine. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Will Banesh. So thank you very much, everyone. This meeting is adjourned at 7:24 PM.
Woo-hoo, very efficient.
Very efficient.
You can get home before.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone online.